may have spoken too soon. This might be the gift of the year for 2022. Hey guys, it's Maymay. When we left off on Tuesday, I had just finished making this box, or at least the shell of the box, because it has a lot more work to be done to make it, a gift or something I want to keep on my bookshelf. I told you when we made this one, if you wanted to edit the width of this to hold less folios, you would do it right here. Well, look what I did. I have done just that. I made a second one, and this one I made 1 3/4 of an inch wide. The reason is I want to use the new Doodlebug paper. Let me show you this paper. And I know you're all going, you were supposed to use the lemon paper. Yes, I was, but look what came in. It's so cute. I keep putting that lemon paper off, and I shouldn't. But this came in, my happy place from Doodlebug, and I fell in love with it. And plus, we also got from this pack this guy, and I love this. So here's what I have done so far, okay? This came with 12 double-sided pieces of cardstock. I took these 12 pieces and I turned them into 4 folios. So these are my 4 folios from that cardstock. Now there was a little bit of strip left over. That's okay, we can use it in our designing, but that's what I used that one for. So here's the 4 folios. Now they're not covered, we're gonna do that today. Now here's the thing. If you want to know how to make this folio, this is super easy, super fun. You're going to see a lot more of it as we get going, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it right now. If you want to see this folio made, we have a video that we will link below. Actually, it's starting to become a playlist, so you may see a couple of videos in a playlist with that video because we can also link this one for you. All right, so why did I do that? Because I need to see a finished product. Let me show you how this works. These guys fit in here like this. Okay, I have a little bit of room because I'm going to be covering these with paper, but do you see how I have 4 different folios in this little box? I absolutely adore this. I think this is so cute, and now we get to do the decorating part. Okay, had to get you there. Let me show you the next thing I'm going to do. Do you remember I told you that I was going to be covering all of the raw edges with more paper before I covered it with decorator paper? That's what we're going to work on today. These strips, I cut the length of these raw edges. Now we're going to give you that on the blog post, so all those measurements are for you. They're 1 inch by whatever the length is, okay? I've scored them in half, and I'm going to fold them, crease them, and glue them on. Now here's the thing. You do not have to be super, super precise with these. I don't want you to really get wrapped up in doing these edges like this, because when you put this down, I'm glad I don't have to be precise because this one did not want to fold. But when you put this down, what it's going to do, it's really just going to clean up the raw edge for us. So when I glue this here, I really will only see the edge. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be covering this with pretty paper. But look how much cleaner our edge looks. Okay, so I'm going to do this with wet glue. I don't always like to use my tape. I did use my tape to assemble this box, my sticky tape. But for these binder strips where I can use wet glue, I'm going to use wet glue. Why is that? I feel like it's more expensive to use my sticky tape because my wet glue is so much more affordable. Plus, this is a good bit of stability I'm adding. And let me tell you, camera adds 10 pounds to glue. I do not have that much glue on here. Can you see from the side? It's barely a bead. It's important you know we're not using passels of glue. All right, so I'm going to put this guy on, and I'm going to run around. And everywhere, I'm not going to run around, I'm just going to move around this box. Everywhere there is a raw edge, we're going to clean it up and make it beautiful. Isn't that pretty? All right, let's do it. So in Tuesday's video, I asked you guys a question, and your answers were so good. I love the thought-provoking and kind. No one was unkind in their answers. I appreciate that because, we can talk about things and we can feel different about things, so I appreciate it. But here's the question for today. So we received an email that made me think of it, but here's the thing. It wasn't the email that did it. I get asked this all the time. So the email was reminding me or letting me know that I score and fold my paper wrong. Now, if you've been here any length of time, you know that I am a person who scores on the top and I fold into that score. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. I want to know which way you do it. Now, let me say this to you. There is no right or wrong way. There is your way, but there's no right or wrong way, okay? And it's important that I say that because even companies that make scoreboards, I've watched their videos, even they do it all different. Okay, so I score on the top and then I fold into that score. Do you do it that way, or do you score on the top and fold away from that score. Now here's the reason I don't like to do that. Do you see the bead of paper that is inside there? The reason I do it my way is I don't like the bead. There's no bead in there. It's clean, right? But there's no right way. That's the way I do it. So tell me in the comments how you do. All right, I'm going to keep going and get this guy all covered up. One more question I need to answer. I did talk about it in my live show last week, but in Tuesday's video, someone asked me, I'm off camera, sorry. Someone asked me why I don't use gaffer's tape for this kind of thing. I have not had a lot of luck with gaffer's tape in my humid environment. I live in a very humid area, and I find that it curls and rolls on me a little bit. Maybe it's just me, but that's the reason I don't use gaffer's tape for this, or even fabric tape for these kinds of places. Now I might use it in smaller amounts, you know, even if I'm using it decoratively, but in these kinds of areas I don't really like to do it. All right, we are ready to put pretty on here. Breaking in here to ask you to hit that red subscribe button. It's free. Also hit the bell button beside it. You can help me reach my big goal this year of 400,000 subscribers. Okay, back to crafting. Now these are the pieces I decided would be super cute on the sides of my box because I think that'll be precious like this. But I want to show you something. After we put this guy together and put our cleanup paper on the side, this box really grows a little bit. So this piece, like this one here, is 6 1/4 wide by 9 tall. So it kind of grows. But I cut these pages as if I were going to mount them onto 6 1/4 by 9, which means I cut it 6 by 8 3/4. Don't worry, we'll have the measurements for you. 6 by 8 3/4. The reason I did that is because I wanted to get 2 of these pieces from one page. I don't want to waste it. This gets me exactly 2 because it's 6 inches. It just means I'm going to have more of the black edge showing, but it's so clean and pretty that doesn't bother me at all. So that's what's going to happen here. Now let's talk about the angle we need to cut. So this is that template you made whenever you did your folio. Remember we did that little folio video? We've linked it below. This is the template we made. Now because these are going to live on the outside of my box, I'm going to take these guys and put them together, basically wrong sides together. Not that there's any wrong side to paper, but the way I want to use them, I'm putting the wrong sides on the inside. So here's how I'm going to do this. With my wrong sides together, okay, I'm going to take my template and I'm going to line it up to this side of the paper of the template. Do you see that? And I'm going to take the template and line it to the top. So I'll turn it over, you can see what I'm talking about. See how I've slid the excess here? See that? I've lined it up here and on this side. That's what I want to do. And then I'm going to trace that line. This way I don't have to do any math again. I could do the math, but there's no need when I can just do this. Just go back to my template and there we go. Now this can go in the trimmer to get cut. So stacking them together, still wrong sides together. I'm going to slice this little cut just like that. And we should have them right. Look at there, that looks nice, that looks nice. So look, we'll just center that and glue it down and do that on both sides. Now to keep all of our edges the same, you know, we have this distance here. I'm doing the same thing. Instead of measuring this and taking 1/4 inch off, I'm going to use my original measures for this box and take that 1/4 inch off. So my original measure for this side was 9 by 1 3/4. So I've just cut this down to 8 3/4 by 1 1/2. And that way we'll kind of be able to keep that same wide edge. And look at this, you know I had to do buffalo check. I love this green buffalo check. So I've cut a piece to go all the way around. So I'm going to glue that down now. So here we go, we've covered this side, the back, the other side, and the bottoms. Now what I'm going to do, it would be time to decorate, except I want to get these guys covered to put in here. Now let me tell you what I'm going to do. I am not going to do the insides of these today just because of my time constraints, but I am going to go ahead and put all the covers, whatever I'm going to do here, and the backs on them. I want to go ahead and do that because I don't want to accidentally use those cover pages when I'm doing the insides. So I'm going to do that real quick. We'll start with one. Now again, you've seen this done, so it's a little bit boring, but you kind of know what I'm doing. Now, rather than making you watch me do 4 of these, you have seen that before. There's videos showing that. I just want to show you what my plan is to start. I'm going to go ahead and find what I want to be on the fronts of these. Okay, so I need to find 4 things that I would like to see on the front. That is super cute right there. That might be one, but I need to run through and look. I love this stripe. I think that'd be a cute front. So let me run through. All right, so I've chose my pages. You won't be surprised by the ones I've chosen, but I think that I told you that I needed 3. I need 4. We're making 4 of these. Let me show you how I'm gonna do this. So this piece needs to be 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, but I wanna show you this. Rather than cutting this 12 by 12 page in half like this, I'm gonna make it 8 1/4 tall so I can have this big scrap, okay? And I don't wanna, instead of cutting this down into 2 scraps, I don't wanna do that, okay? So I'm gonna do that. Then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna cut 5 3/4. And by the way, I have this stacked up 3 deep. There's 3 pieces in here because that's what my trimmer will cut. So these pieces will be 3 of, it's this side, these will be 3 of my cover pages, okay? And I can do more of this, but I don't want to. Instead, I found this page I want to use, this guy, and I'm gonna do it the same way. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down to 8 1/4 so I can save that big pretty whole piece, and then I'm gonna cut 5 3/4 off, and then I still have good size to use in and around my albums when I get to that point too. Hope that makes sense. I think it does. If you take that page and just cut it in half willy-nilly, you really lose that whole strip at the bottom. It kind of, you know, limits where you can use it. All right, so now we just need to see what we want to put where. Isn't that cute right there? That's cute. Let me try this plaid. Y'all know this was my favorite as soon as I saw the plaid. Love that. The stripe, I don't think I would love here because I don't really want that with the grass stripe, but this floral may be the one. Of course it is. Last one I try, right? So we're going to apply this. Also, I'm not rounding any corners in this album. You can. I'm not. I just think that I really, really, really want to see one of these folio boxes full. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing a whole lot of extras. I want to see what this is going to look like. I did it again. I forgot to put a magnet in. Y'all, this is my Achilles heel. Anybody else do this? I just forgot the magnet. So I'm gonna grab my magnets. I'm not gonna use the big magnets today. I'm using the smaller ones, and we're gonna have to do surgery. You've seen me do it before. We can do it again. I'm gonna open this up where I let it shut. I won't do it on the others. I will do it right. I'm gonna grab one of my magnets. I'm gonna peel the backer off of it. See if I can do it with my fingernails. Nope. Ideally, you would have done this before you put your piece on. I promise you, if there's something I'm gonna forget, I'm going to forget paper orientation, and I'm going to forget putting my magnet in every time. So I'm going to see if I can get that to stay in there where I want it. Let's see where it went. Oh, it's in a good spot. Great, right there. That's where we want it. Then I'll just put a little glue in there. So if you ever have this problem too, if you ever forget like I do, look, just do a little bit of, what did we call this? It was a magnet implant, somebody said I did the other day. Then we'll just let this guy grab. Look at that. That worked out great where I wanted it. And then I'll peel the backer off and pick it up on the other side. And what you do there, you want to make sure that you pick this guy up and square it all up before you stick that down to your magnet, because where this magnet goes is where this guy's going to close, and you want it good and square. All right, there's folio number 1 with the cover. Let's keep going. So now all my covers are on, and now I'm going to do the backs. Now let's go ahead and measure. I never can remember the size of these guys. So this guy is going to be 5 3/4, just the same as a while ago, and it will be 8 1/4. Here's the thing I like to do here. Now, first off, this is precious and you don't really have to cover this because I think this is really cute. I'm going to cover it because I'm using Doodlebug paper, which is not the thickest paper that I normally use, and I want to give it some stability. But the second thing I like to do is I like to use my least favorite papers back here. Ones that just don't speak to me, I like for them to go onto the back. So we'll go back to the paper pack, and I will tell you this is going to be hard because all these papers speak to me. But I don't like tiny pattern very much, or busy pattern. This is a great back for me. What's on this side? It's cut aparts. I'm not stressed about these cut aparts and using them because we have plenty of things to decorate with, so I'm not stressed about that. So that's going to be a back. Probably this little coffee cup will be a back. Doesn't really speak to me like, you know, a whole lot. This is a great back for me. Don't forget, I still have this section. I won't be wasting it. We'll still be using that too. And then that black and white stripe is my favorite. Let's put cars on the back. That's a good spot for those. All right, so we're going to cut all these down and glue them on. These just keep getting sturdier and sturdier. They are not the same cardstock we usually use. This is a thinner cardstock. So they're a little less sturdy, but the more I add, the more I keep going, the sturdier they get. Now I want to show you something. When I was doing my folio building, I was having some little offcuts. I had to cut my 12 by 12 down to 8.5 by 11 to make my folio, and I ended up having these pieces, which I was thinking I could use, not that one because it's not my favorite, but I was thinking I could use here as a little bit of stability. So let's see which one of these I really like. Let's flip this over. Maybe the green grass on that one. The polka dots might be really cute there. That. What's on the other side of that one? That's a little bit of a grid, and that one. Let's see what this polka dot looks like. I think this would be nice to add a little bit of sturdiness to that handle there. And if not here, we could put these on the inside to cover up our magnet. That's another thing I was thinking here. I really like that on the inside. I think I'm going to go with that and save these for another decoration. So let me show you my plan for that. I need that flap to get a little sturdier. This paper's not super thick. I think this is like 65 pound. Let me see if it tells me. Well, I read everything on the cover and it doesn't tell me, but it feels like about 65 pound, and it's not cover stock, so it's a little bit thinner. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use sticky tape on here for two reasons. One, I think it'll do really well over my magnet. I'm trying to decide which side I want now. I think it'll do really well over my magnet, and also for the extra stability, because I can put it pretty much edge to edge. This one's better. Had to look. We can always add more to decorate, but I'm really trying to build these guys up a little bit, make them a little meatier. Not meteor, meatier. Now what I'm gonna do here is just line this up. It's not gonna be exactly in the center. I want it to be a little closer to the edge just for looks, because it's not exactly the right size. So I'm bringing it a little closer to the edge here and just encapsulate that magnet there, and what's hanging off the edge we'll trim away. So these pieces that I'm using were pretty much the right length. They're a little bit off here, not even 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going to trim that away. There we go. And that really added some stability there. I'm real happy about that. Our magnet's covered and it's stronger. Let's do the rest of them. You know, this way I'm doing this, it might seem like extra work or wasted product or something like that, but what I want to point out is, let's say you've got some cardstock you bought a long time ago before you were like me and started loving all this thick, rich cardstock, and you want to use it and didn't really know where. This is a great place to do that, because you can just kind of build it up and use that from your stash, and not waste that thinner cardstock, because I know most of us nowadays are really going to the thicker stuff, but this is a great place to use those pieces up. I'm really happy with how these are thickening up. Now, as sad as this is, and I did not want to do this to you, I'm going to have to make this a 2-part video. I wanted it to be all in 1 part, but it can't be. But you can see where it's going, right? The reason to make it a 2-part is my time is running out. If I want to get this video edited and uploaded for you guys by tomorrow, I'm going to have to stop now. But we'll come back in part 2, and we'll decorate inside our album, or inside our little folios. We'll make our doohickeys. Are we going to start calling them doohickeys? Y'all tell me in the comments below. They're little photo inserts, but you know, Vinny called it a doohickey yesterday. And then we'll also finish decorating the fronts there, and whatever I'm going to add here, we'll get that done as well. So we'll do that in part 2. So we'll do that on Tuesday. Hey, thanks so much for being here. I hope you're enjoying these. I know, like, at some point we're going to have to move on from folios. Don't worry, Christmas in July is coming. You'll get a break. But I'm loving these guys, and honestly, I may have spoken too soon. This might be the gift of the year for 2022. Honestly, this whole setup. We'll see how that goes. Hey, thanks so much for being here. Be sure that you share with us what you're making over on our customer gallery at MaymayMadeIt.com. Do me a big old favor and hit that red subscribe button. It's free. It just lets YouTube know you enjoy my content and would like to see more. And if you really want to see more and not miss a lick, hit that little bell button and set notifications for whenever I put up a new video. Again, guys, I really appreciate you, and until next time, bye now.